Wow. After, for me, 20 months outside the US and finally going back for a couple weeks to see friends and family, I can only say what happened.
It is kind of shocking to see certain things are it been changing. I mean, for me, it was 1 year away from visiting the family and go back right now. I was shocked too.
Yeah, and we're not even going into politics. That is not what this video is about. This is just the things in life that have changed in our lives that now the stuff that happens in the US just seems so weird. Now, we've been across in the last 3+ years Europe, lived in Europe for a while, now Asia. We also have traveled extensively. We've gone around the world twice. So we've seen a lot of countries, spent time in various places, and really spending a month or more in each country, you kind of immerse a little bit as much as we can. So you get a feel for things. And going back to the US, it was just like, wow, yeah, that's how it is here. And maybe it seems a shock. So we just want to talk about that. Hopefully you'll enjoy the video. By the way, I am Peter,
And Avelina,
and this is Retire Everywhere, which, as you can guess by the name, means we retired to try to see the rest of the world, and we're on our way. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos. You can watch more, maybe even like and subscribe. Thank you. The first thing, obviously, is the cost. If you haven't left the US lately, you have no idea how much more expensive everything seems. Now, everything from our kids who are renting homes, buying or renting apartments, buying places, the housing has gone up crazy in a city like where we lived in Denver, but everything else, food, eating out was not just shocking, just revolting. Truthfully, we're so used to Southeast Asia being able to go out and eat for so little.
yes, even the price of water is just insane.
Yeah,
So we're kind of very, scared about the numbers over there.
yeah. I mean, we said we could not retire in the U.S. early based on what it cost us to have a regular life there. And this is, I mean, we didn't have an overly expensive house. We had one car. I worked from home, so I wasn't even commuting. Like, just normal living was out of reach on our retirement budget. And yet we're not traveling the world and staying in, when we can, in luxury properties for a lot less, mostly a half, if not more than half off. The one thing that is cheap there is gas. You have no idea how cheap gas is in America compared to everything else, and yet it's the one thing we hear the most complaints about.
Yeah, in Europe is pretty expensive,
Oh,
and yeah, the difference in prices are huge. So that one we notice.
yeah, we actually, when we were living in Portugal, we bought a car. We bought electric because gas is like $8 a gallon there. Wow. So next thing is, that really like shocked us, was kind of came up in our planning of going back home, was, we have this international healthcare. We can travel. Elena's healthcare allows her to go home for a short visit. So she's covered. But again, this is like catastrophic care. If we have to go in for an emergency or in for just getting sick or whatever, the cost is crazy.
And not just that, there's the quality, also the quality of service, because you literally in other countries, you can go to see a doctor and ask them for a couple of things that you want to talk about it, or the most important things, and they will listen and they will give you the medicine for that.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that was very
Well, shocking.
shocking
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, and another little example is we did our health screenings in Bangkok. We walked in and could have actually done them the day of. Now, we'd eaten breakfast, so we hadn't fasted for the blood work, so we actually made an appointment for the next day. But the international hospitals there that are built for medical tourism will take you the day of.
Mhm.
We got to see specialists within hours, if not maybe the next day. We did this in Malaysia. We had emergency dental care in New Zealand. It's just one after the other. You get seen by doctors, and they will, as she said, talk to you and really try to understand your issues beyond just where does it hurt today and what can I prescribe you today.
Mhm.
Now, we did get prescriptions all over the world, and they're a lot cheaper elsewhere too. Tell them about the one you just got done in the US.
So the doctor that I went to see in the United States, I have to buy a specific medicine. The you know
Take
some,
daily.
yeah, that I have to take daily. And we went to Costco when the pharmacist come and told me that it was almost $400 for the 3 months prescription. I almost have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And then, well, thank God we have the app who give us discounts. But can you imagine if you only make the basic um,
Minimum wage.
minimum wage,
Yeah.
and you need something like that to function?
Yeah, that's $2,000 a year. And it's not even a medicine like you think of a name brand or anything. This is just a standard, you know, everything, it's just outside of being a supplement. Yeah. So thankfully between the Good RX, if you've ever used it, the discount or the Costco special loyal customer discount that you managed to find, it cut it down to 55.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
For the same
90%
prescription,
off
three
or 80%
months.
off.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. So I don't know the
Yeah.
things, how they manage those things over there, and how
It
people,
just, it seems to be built to take advantage of people.
yeah,
Like
seems like
those
that.
who don't know or don't have access to just pay whatever they have to pay, and they aren't told how to save money and or why it doesn't cost what it costs. I mean, just tack on a margin and charge that. Everything seems about getting more. But the other thing is, you mentioned it before in other videos if you've seen them, is we spend less for the actual health care we get than we did on insurance when we lived in the U.S. So the next one is, in the US, every meal seemed like we must have overstuffed ourselves, yet we were always getting take home at the end of it or splitting the meal. And it just, everything made you feel so stuffed. And we realized it's all those preservatives and processing and corn syrups and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And just the food is really unhealthy.
Yeah, the food, unfortunately, is something that we notice the difference, not just in that, but in the flavor. The flavor is totally different in other countries. And obviously, because they have less chemicals, and your body can process that way better.
Yeah.
And it make you feel, or do the job that the food's supposed to do.
Yeah. Give you nutrients and help you,
Yeah.
feel better.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, over, especially when we were just in Asia for all that time, we would shop at the local little markets. I mean, the open air or, covered market areas. Now, we weren't adventurous enough to like buy the pork or the chicken that people were cutting up on a board or a pan on the ground. But fruits and vegetables, we didn't have a problem. Go home and wash them, and everything was great. We did, go to the store for our meats and fish, but it just, like today, the cucumber we had today tasted like a cucumber. In the U.S., it tastes like water, and I don't know the salt we put on it. So it's one of the reasons we love telling people to travel is just to experience eating a fresh tomato
Hmm.
without having to pay $7 at the farmer's market for it back in the States.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next one is like we get home and it just seems like everything is in a hurry and everything's built around now and convenience and go and go and go. Whereas we're used to just, and part of this being retired, but just not being in a hurry that much anymore. And I just think so much of the world.
I think we noticed that more specifically in Spain. In
Oh,
Spain, people go to work at 9. Everybody go to work at 9, and they around 1 or 2 have the siesta, which is 2 or 3 hours for they go home, eat, and have a nap,
yeah.
and then go back to work. Everything closed in the middle of the day, and then they're open again, and they stay open until 9 or 10, depending on the business. But they do take time to not just spend time with family, but also go slow with your life, less stress, less just, that go, 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 go all the time. So it was, yeah, we noticed the difference.
Oh, absolutely. Even in Asia where they do hustle because a lot of folks, if they aren't working actively selling stuff, they're not making any money. But they're up early and spending time, out in the community and doing their shopping or going to the beach or doing their exercise out in the
Yeah.
parks and stuff. But there is a lot more evening family time than what we remember in the US. So another thing we noticed in our travels is the sense of family and community. Not that there are not many places and many families in America that are very close just that sense we gathered when we were in other countries, especially as we stayed long.
Yeah, especially I noticed that in Spain, they just not get together as a family, but also the community find the time to get together with festivals and in other activities that they build to, go out and meet the neighbors.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we would have, I mean, people hung out in their front yards. And nowadays, it just seems like you drive your car up your driveway into your garage, which is attached to your house. You go inside, you do all your stuff with your family, and then you watch TV and go to bed. And there's just not a lot of interaction unless you're going to an event. And we really did notice it, all over the world. I mean, just folks tend to spend more time outside interacting with their neighbors and friends and family.
Mhm.
The next one is something that just I got to admit, this was the thing that just hit me as I was walking around one morning, the Denver neighborhood we were in, and there's a bunch of construction going on, which there is most everywhere. But they were knocking down these really nice, smallish ranch houses and building the McMansions. And I just was like, one, who needs all that space? Because we've been living in small apartments and hotel rooms for so long. But just two, it just there's no continuity now. Like all the old stuff is gone and all the new stuff is being built is massive and again built for people to stay inside. Then there's the cars.
Oh, don't go with the cars. The cars. Well, first, in a lot of countries, people use bikes, they use scooters, and they use, especially in Europe, very, very small cars. Not just because the roads are very small, but because I think it makes more sense if it's just one person driving, or it's just a couple. You just need two seats.
Well, and gas
You
is
don't need
twice
that
as much.
exactly, and that too. And you don't need a huge truck that is using by one person.
Yeah.
So
People own those giant pickup trucks and SUVs to commute
yes,
alone, sometimes for incredibly long distances. It is truly amazing. And again, that's a consequence of gas being kept artificially low. And yes, it's heavily subsidized in some places in the world, and you see the big cars too. But most of the world, you kind of pay because you got to pay for roads, you got to pay for maintenance, you got to pay for everything else. Um, anyway, and then the other thing we notice, obviously, when it comes to the houses, is the rest of the world, most places we've been, they do build villas. They tend to be for the certain segment of society, but a lot of times it's condos and townhouses. What they call patio homes, and then tons and tons of high rises in the cities so people can live close to where they work, close to where all the shopping, close to the activities, and they can use the mass transit. It's hard to do mass transit when you are living 40 minutes outside of town because it just the amount of money it takes to build a train that far is makes it a little prohibitively expensive. And if you get in a bus, you're sitting in the same traffic as all the people commuting. One of the other things we saw as we were just moving around, seeing friends, seeing our kids, running around doing errands, all the stuff we wanted to take care of in the U.S. was everything seems to look the same now. There's just continuity of design. A lot of it is enforced by the cities and the planned communities in that Denver area that we were in, but everything there's just not a lot of originality. I mean, builders are kind of building modern homes because it's easier and cheaper to build a square box than the old fashioned homes, but everything just kind of looks the same.
yeah, the malls look the same, the shoe stores look the same, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So
A grocery store looks like a McDonald's, looks like a Starbucks, looks like I mean, everything has that same grayish brown, beigey color. The trim is all painted uniform. It just, you lose it. Or, if you're lucky, you're in an area that uses a lot of brick and it's beautiful, but it does look all the same. Um, Another thing, obviously, we fell right back into it. We rented a car and we drove everywhere. Except we were lucky enough to be staying at a friend's house who is a couple blocks from the store. So we were actually able to walk to a real grocery store in a couple blocks. But for the most part, we drove everywhere. It is such an easy habit. It's so convenient. We actually did that when we were in Portugal. We got our car and we just started driving everywhere instead of walking and enjoying life and truthfully being healthier.
but for that, I would say maybe the in Portugal specifically, the transportation is not reliable,
Yeah.
and you kind of feel forced to have a car. But in the other hand, I mean, it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
to drive everywhere.
We could have walked to 3 stores in a few minutes. We could have, walked to hundreds of restaurants, multiple beaches within 20-25 minute walk. Once you get a car, you immediately default to driving if you have an American mentality. A lot of people over there have one car that sits most of the day. They only use it when they need to go pick up larger items. Again, because gas is so expensive. We just have that American mentality of, oh, I need something, jump in the car and go. And the last thing we really now look back and think, what is going on is just the tipping culture in the US. I don't understand it. It is now so much more than it ever was. I mean, I grew up 10 to 15% was normal. 15% became the norm. Now it's 22 is like the minimum they want you to tip. 25 to 30 is becoming normal. That's not normal, folks, because the cost of everything you're buying is also more expensive than everywhere else.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with you about that because I think some places where I mean, I'm one of those persons that if I go to a restaurant or a place where I get a great service, I greatly, is that right?
Mhm.
Give that person a tip because they go in extra mile to do something for you. But the people in I'm just naming Starbucks for have a
That's an
name
example.
example. So somebody that's making the coffee just for you, the coffee for you, and don't do anything extra. That why you have to tip them?
Yeah, it's
I mean, I understand that they don't pay you a lot, but
well, it's the definition of your job is to make the coffee that's on the menu. It isn't a special order, there shouldn't be a tip for doing your job unless you do it extra well. And now it's like they flip the little screen around for you and it defaults to 20, 22, 25% tip for pouring coffee. You know, even drawing a cute picture in the foam is not extra work. It's something they teach you how to do. So it's not a thing on Starbucks. It is the fact that Starbucks, the corporation, makes so much money that they could pay their people better. They choose not to. And because the culture in America is to add the tip, the rest of the world doesn't do that.
no.
That is not normal. In fact, some cultures, tipping is offensive to them because they see doing their job as they take pride in it. That's what they want to be compensated for is doing their job. And they don't even care if they do extra. They don't really expect much. Now, it is a good thing. And I believe in over tipping for great service. I will happily give 30% to somebody who
Yes.
does exceptional. I'll give a $10 tip for somebody who helped me carry a heavy bag. That's not the problem. The problem is your job description is to get paid. So I wish companies would pay more instead of asking the rest of us to subsidize their profits and pay their people for them.
Yeah, no wonder why going out and eat in restaurants over there is just outrageous.
Well, like we said, the cost of food, I mean, we were spending, to go out to eat $25-$30 per person minimum. That's for mediocre, mid-tier or low-tier restaurants, just going out to grab a bite to eat. And then they want 20-25% on top of that for making the food. Isn't that kind of built in? So anyway, again, it's not because the people aren't good people. It's because they're not being paid properly to be professionals at what they do. Rant over. All right. We don't want this to come off as overly negative. We love America. We want nothing but the best for it. Now, we're not moving back because we can't afford to without going back to work.
No, I'm more than grateful with the country who opened the arms for me and my boys and give me the opportunity to give them a better life.
One of the great things about going home after being away for so long is there are some wonderful things, the comforts of home, as we call it. And for me, it's English. I am not bilingual. I'm barely monolingual. Lingual. I always say I don't speak English. I speak American. So at least I felt like I was included in the conversations. Again, English for me was huge. For you,
For me, like right now, we're in Colombia and I'm just so happy to speak Spanish all the time.
Yep.
So, although a lot of people speak English in here.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
You if you haven't traveled much, you do not realize how lucky you are that English is the default language for the world.
Yes, exactly.
There are very few countries in the world that don't teach English as part of just basic curriculum in
mandatory.
school. Yeah. everybody else learns English so they can communicate with us and England and et cetera. But the US really is the reason for that.
Mhm.
The other part that was really nice was shopping. And I don't mean mall, because the malls are better in other places. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Uh-huh.
we could find what we need so
Yes,
easily.
yes. It's a for sure very. I mean, I feel very happy to be able to go to a pharmacy and find the medicine that I need.
Mhm.
Sometimes some countries that we were visiting, they're forbidden. So you have to find a way to get something that is close and the lowest dosages also because
Yeah.
the dosages
Yeah, they
are
might
very
only give you a 5 milligram pill when you're used to 50
yes.
in the US. And that's not to say that they're overprescribed in the US. That's not it. It's just they don't allow higher. And but what I think one of the things in that same vein is if you want some health care or some healthy food or supplements, in some countries it's in a drugstore. In some countries it's in a pharmacy, which is different. That's where the controlled stuff is. Some places it's in the grocery. Some places it's in a specialty health food store, and they can't cross sell in all places. So you're having to like go to 3 and 4 and 5 places to try to find something that we know where to go in the US. And that's what makes it great going home is we know you need this, you go to this type of store.
You can find almost everything in one store.
That was really nice. I think one of the other things that we've missed, and you don't realize you miss it until you go home and have it again, is a dryer for your clothes.
Oh God, yeah. That's one of the things that I'm like, especially in the places where it was raining a lot.
Yeah.
Is one of the things that I miss the most.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, we've been in Southeast Asia and now in Colombia. It's humid here. Stuff does not dry very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're very thankful when we go home because we definitely know we're going to have access to a dryer.
Mhm.
Uh, I think the other thing I'm really thankful for, I think you are too, is because we're so used to the American system, which nobody else uses, but there's no conversions. You don't have to think like, okay, it's 35 to 1 here for dollars to whatever pesos. It's pounds versus kilos. Okay, it's 2.23. So that means there's this much in this detergent bottle. It's easy.
You want to hear a funny thing? Every single time that I go to the mall in another country and try to, um, um, find a shorts or something in Zara, for
Oh,
example, I look I see something that I like it, and I'm with my calculator trying to figure out how much is.
mhm.
It takes longer. It's already take longer for a woman to go to buy something at the mall, clothing or whatever. But over there, it takes way longer because of that. I want to know how much I'm spending. So
Yeah. Yep. And
for that reason, I go by myself.
oh yeah, I have no patience for that. I'm a in and out shopping in 10 minutes if I can do it.
Yeah.
Just I know what I want, I go get it. Which does bring up the other part of it that's very convenient is both the sizing. We know the sizes in the US, even though they're
Oh,
ridiculous.
yes.
Um, but also the quality. If you're paying a little bit more, which we do, I mean, we paid 3, 4, 5 times more for a shirt in the US, but the quality is much higher on those kind of things. Yes, you can buy really cheap clothes in Asia, and we did. A lot of times, you knew you were going to be replacing at the end of the month because they're just not that well made. The neck stretches out on my workout shirts. The shorts are just going to fall apart or crinkle up. So, um, good and bad. It's nice to be able to replace our clothes and not have to carry a bunch, but there are certain core things that it's worth spending the money on. So we did stock up when we were in the US.
Like shoes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the things that you really need a good quality.
Oh God, yeah. For as
Yeah.
much as we walk, usually
Yes.
most of the time,
Hmm.
yeah, having good shoes is really important, and it's just so much easier to find when we're back home because even if the brand's not made in the US, it's sold there.
And on top of that, the sizes are, I mean, the different. I get depressed
Yeah.
with the sizes over there because, oh my God, I was extra, extra, extra large.
Yeah.
Which I'm not that fat.
No, you're not fat at all.
It was very depressing
Yeah.
sometimes just to.
And the funny thing is, you could be a 3X or 2X or even an XL in one little shop, but then like a 4 or 5X in another, and then they'd be like, "Oh, we have American sizes. You might be a medium," and I'm not a medium, but sometimes a medium fit. So it's very weird. You just had to try on everything. And it's not like they have fitting rooms in a lot of these places that we're going in these markets. You just kind of pulling a shirt up over the top of your other shirt and hoping it fits okay.
Yeah, I really miss that part too.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
the last thing that we're obviously so thankful for when we go home is
Friends and family. Yes, it's food for your soul.
yeah,
It's food for your soul. Spending long periods of time without seeing my boys, our daughter,
yeah,
and having the opportunity to go and see my beautiful friends over there in Denver is one of the things that I miss the most because yeah, they're there. I mean,
just giving our kids hugs
yes,
as opposed to the, you know, video call,
video
chat.
call is not the same. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
Yeah.
So.
So, that is something that is changing in our life. We will not be going 20 months. Now, my daughter did come visit during this 20 months that I hadn't been home. So we kind of got to break it up a little bit and spend some time with her.
And
But
my son go to visit us in
yeah.
Portugal too.
So we're going to be rearranging our schedule to be home a couple times a year. We're just going to use the U.S. as a pass through instead of flying directly from South America to Europe. We're going to bounce through the U.S., go home and see the family. But we are very thankful when we are home that we get to see everybody.
Mhm.
And
Yes, and as you know, this is a video that we want to share with you, just to share our experiences,
yeah,
and for people that don't travel that much, you at some point want to travel and know what to expect.
and even if something came off as negative on the U.S., please understand that it doesn't make it bad. It just means we see the difference from being elsewhere in the world. And sometimes those other things really do help the perspective of how lucky we were to spend our years in the US, how lucky I was to be born in the US. Again, we believe in travel. We also believe in retiring early. If you want to learn more about that, watch some of our other videos. We are going to have a whole bunch of videos coming out soon. Hopefully, we can get finished editing them. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching.
Thank you
Like,
for
subscribe,
watching.
comment if you would. We really appreciate hearing. If you got stuff to add to this one, we would love to make a follow up maybe.
Mhm.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.